Welcome to the Aether Chamber, a podcast.
Welcome to the Aether Chamber, a podcast on the beginning after the end, or TBATE. Our hosts of this podcast are Pokey, Toby, Akin, and Marcusio, 4 fans of TBATE. We'll cover the various arcs of TBATE in chronological order, discussing the story's details in depth, as well as stating our own views and opinions on the story, pointing out differences between the novel and webcomic. Beginning After the End is an epic fantasy story written by Turtle Me. The novel is on Tapas, which is updated weekly. It is currently available in English. There's also a webcomic adaptation, which can also be found on Tapas. 9 volumes of the novel have been published. It is available on the Google Play Store, Amazon, or Audible. There are currently 2 volumes of the comic published and available for purchase. Plus, volumes 3 to 6 become available from 2023 to 2024. Beginning After the End follows the life of the late King Grey after his untimely and mysterious death. Reborn as Arthur Lewin, he seeks to correct his past mistakes in the vibrant new continent of Dicaphan, a world of magic and fantastical creatures. For those wanting to follow along with the comic, we are covering episode 11, moving on, the very beginning of episode 16, Road Ahead. The novel, episode 16, Questions, Part 1, the very beginning of episode 21, Road Ahead, Part 1. Episode 2, The Cave in the Kingdom, Part 1.
Yeah, last episode we ended off around right where before he fell off the cliff.
The not so cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did that joke at the end as well, so
Yeah, I left
might
that
as
in there. I
well
was
bring
like,
it back.
should I
Yeah.
leave that in there? Take it out. No, I left that one in there. But yeah, the not so cliffhanger as he pulled the mage off, which was the end of How I Wish, I think, part 3.
Episode 15.
15 on Tapas, yeah. And then that would be moving that
Comic
over to
10, I think.
Yeah, A Promise. Yeah, I think that's what I said. Yeah, so this one would begin from episode 11 for comic to, what do we say?
Episode 16 and 17 for the novel for this chapter. Promise.
Yeah,
that's where you start. At least
and start. Yeah, got a
and
decent amount of cover.
Then we end like right at the start of the comic episode, which probably is a problem.
Probably.
We go to comic chapter 29.
Yeah, like the start of 29 is where we're ending. That's the problem. So like 28, 29.
Yeah.
I think that's where I read up to. Yeah.
I almost ran out, got distracted, read up to chapter 12.
So I'll be honest, I think I listened to the audiobook probably a week or 2 back on the chapters. So I didn't read the Tapas on novel or novel on Tapas. So I'm more up to date with what's in my mind is the comic than the novel than anything on this portion.
I read both at the same time yesterday.
He speedran it yesterday, so
speedran it. 80% speed run.
He did. He started yesterday.
I had to finish up this morning about 30 minutes before the podcast.
I mean, I was reading up till probably 1 or 2, and then I took a nap and just laid down.
Yeah.
But I should. Yeah. It's once we start talking about stuff, I'll remember things.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. All right.
Oh yeah. The reason the Aether orbits here is just for audio clips.
Pretty much, we start off with him in this dream sequence.
Yep. Waking up in his little room.
Yeah. We have the maid, and then he goes to address a old man named Marlorn.
Where do you think his kingdom would take place if it's on Earth? I'm assuming so. It's like as close to like an actual Earth we have now, besides probably, of course, the post-apocalyptic setting. And they're all very drab with their clothing, all very gray, monotone stuff.
I think the UK, probably. around Europe.
Like we mentioned last time.
George Washington, the Pope, the Council, his tournament win, and the picture with the Council shows that the Council was formed back in the 3000s.
Yeah.
So this takes place approximately 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah. So it could be a completely different country or place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The banners in the background do have a lion on them, so that could be the country's symbol.
The coat of arms.
Coat of arms, or just the council looks to be like what, of 3 people maybe, at least.
Yeah.
And then the novel actually says something interesting. It kind of implies that there might have been a nuclear war, and that's what issues.
Yeah, the Paragon Duels, which is actually a really cool name. I actually like that.
Yeah, that's pretty epic.
It's like,
It's
what Paragon?
Paragon, a person or thing regarded as a perfect example of a particular quality.
Yep, for that. Got the definition right then and there. That's because I mean that's what the king's kind of supposed to stand for, but technically
the perfect fighter.
The perfect fighter, yeah. They're just dueling it out. But and this funny thing is the duels aren't just also isolated to the king. Sometimes they could be between the king and a squad of soldiers or a small army.
Yeah.
He goes into later on explaining too, but
it's funny that for small issues, it's a war, and for the big issues, it's the king against the king.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because like I would say it's usually life or death when it's the king versus the king, I guess,
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, who wants a king to remain a king after they get their ass handed to them?
Yeah. And we also get a pretty good look at what Gray looks like. We get pretty much a clear view of everything but his eye.
Yeah. Fade out. So you got what? He's got what does he describe it as? Like it looks like a dirty blonde, wheat blondish kind of.
Yeah, I'd say closer to wheat blonde.
Yeah,
paler
skin too. But he doesn't. This is probably around the same time he passed away, so probably like 30s for him.
Yeah. He passed away when he was 38.
Yeah. So I mean, he's still kind of probably in his prime somewhat. The fact that he's and he's probably one of the more powerful kings.
Bird is still pretty young in terms of body age.
King. Yeah, king's probably in that world or on Earth.
Yeah.
Probably still dominates everyone.
It definitely looks like the lion is the running theme for their symbol for the country or coat of arms.
Yeah.
But like all this is just a dream for him or hallucination, because as we start to realize he is trying to figure out if he could tell until after he wakes up from this dream, but he misses his old life, his mom, Alice, and his dad Reynolds, and then missing Helen, Jasmine, Durden, Angela, even Adam. Wow. Yeah. And then of course transfer over to him finally coming to wake, and the horrific scene he sees, besides the sky and him surprised he's alive, is the body strewn out next to him. Like you said in the chat,
the novel made it a lot more gruesome.
Yeah. That's what it's
I'm glad the comic
brains running out.
Yeah. It was bad.
Honestly, it's surprising that this one doesn't have the caution sign that the usual chapters have when having the mature sign.
Yeah.
Just because of that scene.
Yeah, it's the novel is very, very brutal on it, on the description. There's still one thing telling me.
Pretty fucked though.
Yeah, even still in the comic, you can still kind of take personal look at. You can tell it's kind of screwed, but one thing his
description fully twisted, 180 degrees.
Fully twisted. got the shattered arms, legs all broken, the knife still sticking out of him, blood trails. I kind of forgot while reading through the comic there was actually like when people were dying and stuff, when there's death this early in the comic, like there's actual like still blood. Like I thought like there's like something they kind of just like, because like I didn't really see a lot of mature warnings until like later in, like, and I
You
was
were
like,
just
oh,
assuming
I
that
forgot.
didn't have all that till later.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, I didn't get a lot of those till later, but no, like this one didn't have a mature label, but yeah, it was
It
still pretty
probably should
gruesome
have.
in the yeah, but he's surprised, of course, he's lived, and then he blacks out after throwing up whatever he had in his stomach.
Yeah.
It's him
Wakes
coming
up
back.
a
Wakes
little
up
later.
later.
Eats
Yep, a little later.
berries and nuts that his mom packed for him.
Yep, barely able to crawl over to them. Eats it and drinks. Passes out again. Then he wakes up. Finally, he regains the strength to sit up or try to sit up, but he uses mana to help him do that because his body's still recovering slightly.
Reinforces himself with mana.
Yep. And then he looks over, grabs his stuff, he grabs the knife. Surprisingly, he doesn't throw up again from the body because now he's been passed out for what? He passed out for probably about a day, then woke up passed out 2 more times after that. So the body's been stewing in the forest, just sitting there.
Yeah.
And he looks
Probably
split.
started
That should be a nice
decomposing.
smell.
Yeah. Like, the spell got to him at first, but I guess he just got used to it after laying next to it for how long? Hours upon hours.
Maybe a
Probably.
day.
Yeah.
He seemed to have waken up at the morning, passed out, then woke. Well, the sun is going down. Then
Yeah.
passes out again, and then wakes up at morning.
Yeah. But what is it?
And then we have a random voice speaking to him, which he thinks is the corpse.
Yep. The novel does it pretty quickly. It's as soon as he grabs the knife, the comic kind of walks away from the corpse a little bit more. Like as soon as he's about to set off, like the voice realizes like, oh, you're awake. But though in reality he's been awake for probably a few minutes walking around.
Yeah.
And of course, I think anyone would have that same reaction. Like you would literally shit your pants if a voice just suddenly you didn't know came into your head and you're next to near a dead corpse. You'd think it'd come from the
Especially if
probably
you're
the first
alone in
place
a
you'd look.
forest.
I'd probably think I was hallucinating or something.
Yeah.
That's a healthy sign.
But he's surprisingly a lot more on edge in the comic than in the novel.
Yeah.
Swinging his knife around, all of that. Doesn't really. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he kind of in the novel. It says he's a little. It kind of gives him a little more on edge. I instantly got into a fighting stance, gritted through the pain from a sudden movement with my knife in hand, turning to face the carcass. I swear to God, if this corpse is the one talking, then of course it goes and explains the chuckle in his head, the voice has in his head. It tells him it won't be reanimating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the comic makes it seem like he's a little more terrified and on edge, but the novel makes him come off more composed and calm about it. Yeah. And then it adds in the little comic. Yep. He tries to poke it with a stick. Testing
Yeah.
it.
Classic poking it with a stick.
And then he relaxes for a sec, of course. Then it goes on. Then he snaps back to reality, like tries to figure what the hell was the voice, and he still goes on guard, wondering whose voice it is. So the comic shows him he points the knife in a general direction, then a rabbit hops out of the bush.
Yeah.
Of course, we get into the little mind games, the voice answering questions. So that's the first chapter. Pretty kind of. I do like that. There's I like the little. Of course, I said this last time. I like the little nuances of like the adding the cheerful tone to it, little jokes here and there that they add for the comic. You can just see the panels drawn because like TBATE overall is a very
Pressing.
it's depressing, realistic, but also like dark toned story because like I don't know,
It handles so much darker themes.
It seems so much darker. So the comic kind of really pulls out the lighthearted side to it, which kind of as a very like passionate person about the.
You can kind of only pull out the lighthearted bits in those early days, which I feel like they did a good job of trying to bring it out there.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good because like you don't want that too dark as it was, as in the novel. But
yeah,
and then so, but it's like it's hard for me to really swallow that because like I kind of love the dark tone. So like, of course, I still lean towards the novel more because then you get the more descriptions and stuff. Like it's hard for in the comic to put all that into use because you're so limited on what you can show. We're not limited. You just like there's so much you don't want to put all these thoughts, all these big thought bubbles and stuff of like Arthur or other characters are having.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of you're very limited in what you could show and say. So
yeah.
you have to fill in the So now hopping into the next chapter or next episode would be
comic episode 12 or
We almost already full through.
episode 12, Mr. Voice. It's Arthur refers to the voice as Mr.
And the voice
Who
checking
to call a lady Mr.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like how he assumes it's a Mr. Even though he already knows the voice kind of has like the elegance and softness of a woman's voice, but he still refers to it as Mr.
Yeah.
It might be a deep voice. We don't really know, but still elegant and soft, just deep. We don't know. We'll have to wait for the anime.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they'll have Travis reprise his role as the voice still.
He's the voice actor for all of them.
That would be funny.
Yeah.
Travis just voices everyone in the anime.
I didn't bring this up last time, but what dialect, what country origin do you think he used for Jasmine's voice? Because I can't really place it because she does have an accent when he does her.
I've been wondering that myself. I can't really place what it's from.
Because I was going back through.
We could always just ask him.
Her having an accent.
Yeah, you probably could ask him. It is very unique because, like, I know the humans have different accents, and it doesn't really say. I don't think it doesn't. I don't remember saying in the novel if her voice sounded this particular way, because everyone else in the Twin Horns kind of sounds normal besides Durden. Durden has that gruff, deep voice because he's so large, like a bear. But like Jasmine just like kind of threw me off that she has like kind of like it sounds kind of like a Northern European accent. I don't know why. I'm assuming that.
Well, just ask him in the server. Let's see if he has answers.
You asked him in the TBATE server?
No, in his own personal Discord server.
Oh yeah, the personal one.
Yeah, he streams him recording audiobooks.
Oh shit! I might need to.
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah, you can hear him do gurgles and other weird noises.
I'm gurgling.
Yeah,
we got to listen to him when he recorded 8.5 and Volume 9 audiobooks.
Yeah, and every time people level up, he says like, "Congratulations," and then their name, "You have advanced to level 5." And then we made fun of it by naming ourselves different things.
Yeah.
And I have a few recordings saved.
Is that how you got them to say for reference or listen to the Cadell, go read the Cadell docs?
Yeah, I named myself, "Please look at the Cadell doc." And Cadell's thought about it as epic.
We kind of abused it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, at
I
least
gotta send in the link in the
Yeah, I sent it in podcast chat. I also named myself at one point Gwei Wei Win.
Yep.
So Gray Lei Win, but ooh, and then he said it in ooh voice.
Yeah,
you probably have that audio. You probably have that clip somewhere saved amongst your
probably. Let me search.
The voices of Travis Baldry.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few.
I'm curious how he does it because I watched some clips on the guy who does I forget his name. He does the audiobook for Lord of the Rings, and he has it's the guy who does Schmeagol, but he has different positions. He records the voices. He'll put himself in a lower position, reading Schmeagol, and look up at the microphone while doing it. Some other characters, it's different stuff. So I'm curious if Travis does a same technique for recording.
Oh, I forgot to save it. I lost it.
Oh.
No.
In the files of TBATE.
No, it's because I cleared my hard drive at one point. All right, I sent them at one point.
Who addresses our mysterious voice mister, and then they're talking, trying to figure out what he's supposed to do. And then the voice tells him, well, because he questions confidence of the voice, why would he go find our woman's voice or where? And then she says, I'm the only one that will be able to get you home from this place. The text in the comic kind of gives a foreboding atmosphere, you think you're gonna see someone scary, which is kind of cool and funny. That for what happens later, of course, that you're having this creepy looking text pop up in your head, he's gonna go see some monster or something, and he's gonna get eaten.
Yep.
And then the funny thing too is he still doesn't realize this person whoever he's talking to is hearing his thoughts while he's walking, and he's having his thoughts about did his parents' stuff make it? Is everyone okay while he walks?
And then trying to go find her, which is a pool of water.
Oh, that's a little funny scene.
Yeah, where he takes off his clothes and jumps into the river.
Yeah. Here's the water, immediately hauls ass butt naked into the water.
Yeah.
My computer just turned off.
I love how when he's butt naked, he's washing himself. And then she's the voice is just oh, so carefree. And he immediately covers his goodies, his family jewels.
Don't worry, there isn't much to see.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Get absolutely owned.
His poor pride, he calls it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They are just words, Arthur. A king must remain unfazed.
Yeah.
No voice perverted in the novel.
And then he says, this body is just underdeveloped. That's all.
This body's underdeveloped. But then he
continues. The comics is just best.
Oh yeah, they did a good job of that. And then we didn't talk about it, but was it the way the voice allows him to see where he's going to be going? It looks kind of painful. She takes over his vision.
Yeah, it looks a bit painful.
Sends him up flying into the air, and then looking at a pile of rocks out in the distance.
It might be just a theory. It might be because all that information suddenly going to his head, it might not be able to handle it.
Yeah, no.
That could be it. That seems like a plausible explanation.
Probably. I'm assuming most likely would be one.
One thing that's mentioned by Art is as he gets closer and closer to the cave, the density of mana is getting richer. Kind of abnormally rich for the area.
That also kind of makes sense considering what's hidden in that place.
Yeah, no, I mean, because as she mentions later, she is warding the place, so that probably plays a factor. The dense mana confuses some people.
Yeah,
and throws him
Yeah.
off using that. And then
And
he
then
travels.
Maybe the density of the mana is a side effect of what she's doing.
That
Probably,
might be.
because I mean,
that would be the
Yeah.
case as well.
because whatever she like, a wide range spell like that would take a mass amount of mana.
Yeah.
Knowing what she, as we all know what she is, like it's still got to be a lot of mana. There's no way you can a small amount would do that.
Yeah.
Do the trick for that, especially warding off the people who are chasing her and looking for her.
And then right
not
here
really
at
an
the end,
effective way to
when
hide.
he's getting to the cave, there's a difference.
There's a
You know,
difference.
Yeah.
They both,
Yeah.
comic and novel, I'm
when-
pretty sure, they both kind of joke around thinking the rocks.
Oh yeah, sentient
rock
rocks.
is the person.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
difference is that in the novel she says, "I am not a rock, nor am I a cluster of them." While here she just goes straight to cluster of rocks.
Yeah,
But
and well, she refers as as a sentient cluster of rocks,
Yeah.
and then
once
That's it.
he's getting down into the cave, the main difference here is that once he gets to that rift and all, in the novel he jumps down on purpose, lands on his butt. But in the comic, it's more of a surprise. Falls on his face.
well, in the comic did as well, the novel, but the novel tells her the voice recommends that it strengthens himself with mana. In the comic, not at all. He's like, just find me in the crevice, and he goes through it, and then he immediately just falls.
Watch your step.
Right on his
Yeah.
face.
Yeah, just watch your step. Immediately slips and plummets down 2 stories. That's what he refers to it as. Which is surprising because you think even in 2 stars with a mana hence body that small body, you think that still cause some damage.
Yeah.
Especially when
She
he
might
lands
have
on the
been-
face like that.
She might have been doing the same thing as when he fell from the mountain.
Probably,
So-
yeah. Give it, yeah. Fuki gives us a little Looney Tunes scene, him landing on his face.
Yeah.
Surprised they didn't do it. This is probably around the time they stopped doing the little animated motions in the comic as well. They stopped doing them. I'm surprised
Yeah.
they didn't like do the little give him a little twitch of the leg, like his leg twitching back and forth as he's laying there.
That would be
I think
funny.
they stopped doing those around chapter 3 in the comic. They stopped pretty early on.
Oh, and then yep. As soon as he stands up, he literally almost has a heart attack and pisses himself on what he's staring at.
Yep. A large demonic beast that's got 2 massive horns. They go kind of up above her ears and all.
Yeah, she's got
Yeah.
2 horns. It's 4, I guess you could say, because it's kind of like they 2 go forward and up, kind of like I think it describes as a crown, and the other 2 go back and point up as well.
Yeah.
Wrap around the head. I mean,
That's
I'd be-
pretty menacing.
yeah,
Especially with
it's,
how large
how
it
So,
is.
I think it's the same horns as her dragon form, actually.
yeah, it is. It's the same horns as her other form, but it's
Yeah.
still it's
Just darker.
it's funny too. It is a large form, and while I was reading the comic again, like I look at some of the comments, like people were actually kind of surprised, like how large she came out to be. Like people thought it'd be a little smart, but I mean, like she's kind of trying to hide her real form. But even then, still, like it's funny because like the other characters who take on their forms and stuff have their humanoid form. They're not the biggest. So I'm curious, like if she didn't have the power to take the other form too, because it's just kind of like a mirage for her.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because if she turned into a human form, her body would fall apart because of the massive hole in her.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The comic places a lot of detail on that gaping wound, even if it is just there for kind of one panel at the start.
Okay, so random question. She has a
Hmm?
giant hole where her mana core should be.
Mhm.
Which means her mana core isn't there.
I wouldn't say that it isn't there,
Right.
just
I think
say
like
it's
it's
just like
where her mana
it's-
core is, like leading to her mana core.
Well, there in the novel it says there's a giant hole where her mana core should be.
Maybe
which kind
it's
of implies
just.
it isn't there.
I think it's most likely just that her mana core does have a hole, but it's held together by everything else that's there, and by the shell that she created.
I mean, she saved a child from falling off of a massive mountain. I bet she can probably hold a wound together for a little while.
Yeah.
That's true.
And yeah. Pretty much as soon as he gets there, they start talking, bonding. Art's seems a lot more scared of her in the comic.
Yes.
Yeah, especially at the start. I think that's
I mean-
more because we can see facial expressions here. We can't really see those in the novel.
Not really.
Yeah, I
in
do
the
like-
novel. In the novel,
No, the
he's
novel.
like excited to meet her. He starts trying to get her to call him Art. All of that just seems
Yeah, that's true.
one-sided.
Yeah, he's more accepting of it being in the novel, like
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
I think that the comic probably did it a little bit better.
Yeah,
It would be
because I
a
mean,
giant 10-meter tall demon.
then
Yeah.
Is it canon that it's 10 meters?
It said
I
like
just-
she's 2 stories tall, I think. Or
yeah.
3.
Oh.
So
I have it down in my notes. It says that she was 10 meters tall in this form.
and it's
That's tall.
large, and that kind of makes sense for the trend of those characters, our characters that ends up dealing with later on in the novel, and in eventually in the comic, they can vary on size, height,
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, some of them even grow.
Larger
You
than
guys
others.
think
Some
though
just
she choose to look like that, or was she?
she definitely
kind of
chose.
Forced?
She chose to.
she chose,
Yeah.
and then
But those
I like-
glowing fruits do look pretty good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I like how she scares the crap out of him in the comic while he's looking at a fruit and squeezes it.
Sees his parents. Ray makes a face out of the fruit.
Little,
Yeah.
he's such a charmer, such a wonderful dad.
Yeah.
He's got an impressive ability to chew on fruit.
Yes,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
yeah, she scares
What
the
even
shit out
is
of
that a
him.
melon? Is that a melon he's eating?
I don't know.
I think so.
And Ray made a
Some sort of
face out
melon.
of.
Yeah, some sort of melon in their world.
Maybe like a cantaloupe or something. But TBATE version.
Or a giant apple. Looks
Yep.
like a giant
Was it-
apple.
Was it ever said how long she's been there?
A long time.
Yeah, I don't think it's. She never really specifies how long she's been there.
Just been there for a while.
But we can get into that probably. We'll have to get into that later because I think it doesn't really because we know why she runs away, but it's not discussed at all during this part. But that she's being hunted by these people, but we know exactly for the reason why she has the wound and stuff, and we can discuss that in a different episode
Yeah.
when that gets brought up
Yeah.
later
Yeah, true.
when she got it. But
And
and then
pretty soon
she
after the
introduces
fruit scene. What were you
What?
saying? You can go.
for the fruit.
What were you saying?
My Critio, he was talking about her wound and why she got it.
Yeah.
Not really fruits.
No, it's a we can get into that in a later date too, because like she's very secret about the wound at this point. Doesn't tell you,
Yeah.
but that's revealed later on too when it happened, or we can assume when it happened and when she went to hide. And then we can that's when we'll get more into depth a lot of this stuff and have our little theories, our little discussion how long she could have been in this cave, this area.
Yeah.
Because we don't have an exact timeline of all the TBATE things, like what years, when months and stuff happen. We just kind of have to estimate,
Yeah.
but we can do that later.
Do you guys think that maybe the fruits grow because of ether instead of mana?
Nah.
I don't
I
really
think
think so.
no. I don't think
There is
that's the case.
something Let's go along with that. I put in my notes for later, but I don't think it really mentions anything with Aether yet.
No, it doesn't.
High density mana fruits.
Yeah, just the high density amount of mana. Yeah, and then he fumbles trying to ask her what he should address her as, and then she introduced herself, Sylvia, which is a
Lady
very
Sylvia.
yeah, Lady Sylvie or Sylvia.
Yes.
It's a quite interesting exchange between the two of them. Like he has all these questions, she only answers so many of them, and like then the big question he asks, like, why did she save him? And she doesn't even know the full answer. Well,
Yeah.
half truth, half lie for her, of course. And she later on reveals
I mean,
why she saved him, but she replies saying she felt the need to save him because like she saw how brave he was and stuff, and then want to just let him die. But then also just like she also says I was kind of felt like maybe it was because I was lonely, and she saves him.
yeah.
Yeah. And it turned out to be a great decision.
They are. I was gonna later ask Sylvia where they are exactly, and Sylvia tells them that they're in between the Beast Glades and the Elshire Forest.
Yeah, so they're like it shows a little map of it, kind of a little area they could generally be in.
A part of the map from like one of the first chapters. Which when you look at like this actual map and how long they traveled in 2 months, that's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what the capital of Elmore is that? Which one is that? Is it Zestir or Aspen? Zestir.
Yeah.
Which is surprisingly close to the Beast Glades.
Yeah, I mean the map, the official map is like a bit different. Let me see if I can find it. I have it somewhere.
And then speaking of the warding, do you think it has it's a similar effect as to the forest, the Elshire Forest?
I could probably see it, something like that. But
It's like it's not a fog, but it just like kind of plays with your head a little, makes you walk in circles or stuff.
Makes you not want to go near.
Yeah.
Right,
like it's very subtle. It's not massively there. Like the Elshire Forest, you can definitely tell it is because it's screwing with you, I think. Yeah. But hers is probably a little more subtle, kind of leading you down the wrong path.
Map. You can see that Sistir is actually placed a completely different area.
Yeah.
And they traveled from Ashbur at the northern part of the Great Mountains, all the way down through most of the continent, like traveled half the continent almost in 2 months. Yeah.
So she's around somewhere by Renius' hideout then, where he fell on the map.
Yeah, pretty close.
About there.
Yeah, pretty close. Or like, I'd say I mean, that makes sense because it's still within the Elshire Forest, kind of. So, that adds a theory to me for later on that she might know where another character is too. That she didn't want to reveal. Maybe. The location of Renia's hideout and stuff. Stuff we can discuss later.
And she kind of ends up that chapter by telling her that his family's safe, kind of easing his
pains.
Worries. Yeah.
And then we get that shot of Arthur, of him, his relief look.
Yeah. Then pretty much at the start of the next chapter, we get a fairly big difference from comic to novel. Whenever he's talking about the bandits and thinking about them. In the novel, he's flat out telling her his thought about the bandits, that they deserved worse fates. But in the comic, he's just in there thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, he's meditating.
Yeah.
So in the comic, she can fully read his thoughts, where in the novel, that's not really implied as much.
Yeah, no. Which is, I don't know, would she I think the comic the novel may be a little more accurate on that one because I doubt she'd be able to fully read his thoughts just now because they don't have like an actual. They don't have a. But yeah, that's a like.
Yeah.
It's I think the novel is a little more accurate because they don't really share a physical connection bond like that he has with his actual bond later on. Like, so I don't know if she could really read his thoughts.
Yeah.
She probably could get like a grasp of like his emotions. That's probably what she was basing it off of.
Probably.
what
Or she
happened.
just looked at his face.
Yeah.
I
or
mean,
his
No,
face,
he
'cause he-
made
More
quite an
accurate than
angry
the father-son telepathy.
Oh yeah, well, father son telepathy is pretty lacking there.
Yeah.
He's gonna kill me. You can do
Heads out
it.
for blood.
Go get him, son.
You can do.
how it always is,
That's
though.
great.
Yep.
Oh my god, that flick must have hurt. That flick had to hurt. She sent him
Yeah.
flying too.
Yeah.
Oh, big ass fingers flicking in the
There was
forehead.
probably a
sending it.
little too much force behind it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah, if you look at the
Yep.
comic panel, you can see that there's blood.
When she
I
hits
think-
him,
I think-
yeah.
It's either blood or like the shadow from his hair.
I think it's the shadow from his hair.
I don't think Sylvia would make him bleed.
Bleed. No, she definitely
Do you
bruised
bleed?
it. He does bleed, unfortunately.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, he begins to notice that her wound gets worse, but she just says it festers from time to time. That make him not worry about it.
I think it's
Yeah.
blood. The color's
And then
red.
they mentioned the core he has, which is
Yeah,
another
no.
slight difference in the novel to the comic. The novel, she says that they awaken at 10 at the earliest age. Like, that's the earliest people will awaken. Comic, she just says 13 average.
Average
Yeah.
for humans, yeah.
Yeah.
Why? He's still only what 4, 5 in this?
He's
Three-
4.
it's
4.
Around just barely 4. She says
Yeah.
that later.
Yep.
And then she also, this is where after talking about the core, she thinks maybe he can learn it is the skill, mana rotation.
Yeah.
That he-
An
or he-
incredibly
they-
useful skill.
Yeah. And at first he attempts it in the comic and he says easier said than done.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
like comic makes it seem like he's not very open to trying it, but in the novel he's very it seems that he makes a very good try at doing it. Like he's very open to the idea.
He actually names the technique himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently there's another name for it, but Sylvia just wouldn't tell him, which kind of interesting.
What is it
Especially
with them
since
and
we're
not
now
telling
calling
ability
them
names?
monarchies. No,
Also, like that, like he spends a lot of time training, and then once he realizes he's done it, Sylvia just collapses.
Yeah, Rise is trying to make the rift.
Yeah, good timing.
yep.
He just had
No.
time to learn it.
More time after he finishes learning it till she collapses.
Yeah, we see there's like a very clear time skip of like a few months.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's,
Spent about 4 months with her total.
Yeah, that's a long time to spend with a random stranger, but then
I mean,
it
the fruit
refers to her as
problem.
the demon lord grandma.
Perfect description.
Yeah.
The fruit probably
Well,
tasted pretty good though.
She does look like a demon daughter though, from like
Yeah.
all the isekais.
Yeah,
Oh, she does. Yeah. I mean, that's the general look of them all. It doesn't. I don't think the comic says he actually gives it the name, does it? I know
No,
the
I
novel
think it
That's what
does.
the novel says.
Oh,
Yeah.
Strange.
Yeah.
It also kind
So,
of brings
yeah,
up
'cause
the
it
point
says-
that all of Sylvia's kind know that technique, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something they're told as children. I think.
Not really. It's just something that they naturally know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like the mana beast pick it up,
Mm.
and then
Just like
yeah,
us with breathing. They just
Breathing's
naturally
a natural
breathe
thing.
mana.
I do when she gets back up after he turns her over and looks at her and tries to talk to figure out why the wound's fester, and she continues to just say it's not his fault or
Just
console him.
festers from time to time.
Yeah, tell him not to worry. But he starts to break down about it. Clearly, have formed a really
Looks
deep bond
over.
with her within 4 years. And
Months.
the comic does a really good. Yeah, 4 months, 4 years. But the comic does a really good job of showing it. She's got the disheveled look of her hair and stuff, even as the demon form.
Yeah.
While locking in, the more blood's pooling out of her chest.
Uh-huh. Then he looks behind her and sees the portal, kind of realizes.
Yeah, realizes that it's actually because she's creating the portal that she's getting worse.
Yeah, that's a kind of sobering, or not sobering. I guess saying like depressing statement. She says, "You're doing me a favor, allowing me to leave this forsaken cave a bit faster." It's kind of like a.
That kind of shows that she had already given up by that point.
Yeah, like she knew her fate and she couldn't change it. She was trying to hopefully delay the inevitable and possibly find a way to change things, which she seems to have done.
Yeah.
But
then she starts to transform.
Yep.
Yeah, her armor starts to crack. She turns into gold.
Yep, the gold light enveloping her.
Yeah. And then out comes a dragon.
Pretty much turns into a dragon with white scales. The
Looks
dragon
more like
form
feathers.
larger.
Wait, it is feathers.
Yeah, feathers. It refers to all the dragons have. She has feathers on hers. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Still, in the novel, it describes Sylvia having scales, but she has feathers on her wings.
Yeah.
Strange.
What are you saying, Akin?
This is the only time we ever see a dragon in their actual dragon form, right?
Yeah.
As now, yes.
For now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, technically, for now, up to this point, of course, yes. But like later on, you have his little bond in her form.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. That's
But I like how she says there, now I look a little bit more like a Sylvia.
Yeah.
Get
And in the comic, they give her long flowing hair in the dragon form, which isn't really described as much in the novel.
No. Does the novel say she has the runes on the side of her body like it does in the comic?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does.
Long golden flowing runes and purple eyes.
Yeah, that fits the description.
How do you think he came up with the runes? Do you think are they tied to an actual language, those runes?
I don't think so.
I don't think at this point they were.
Yeah.
At this point, they seem kind of just randomly drawn on.
Yeah.
But I think later on, when we see more runes, we kind of get like a pattern of what the different runes mean.
Yeah,
I think
because they got to make them look have an explanation behind them.
Yeah,
They connect them to the power that they're tied to. And then she gives him the little rainbow huge stone after opening the portal further even more. Or actually opening it fully before you can leave.
And then she rips out one of her feathers and covers the stone with it, which makes it look like a normal white rock.
Yeah. And then we see her implant the will into him.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
The runes fade and her eyes fade as well. Her eyes colors fade. Yep.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting that like it makes it seem like when she rips the feather out, she starts bleeding from it. Like you think it'd just be like plucking an actual feather out or ripping it out. But I guess like the dragon's feathers and stuff or scales, so they don't just replace them. They kind of like grow as they grow older.
Pretty much.
Yeah. But I like how the comic she pokes him in the chest with her I don't know, what'd you call it? Beak,
Tongue?
snout.
Snout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
guess
snout
snout.
is a good word.
Yeah, snout. He bursts into agony. His eyes get a little purple hue, and then he has the runes pop up on his arms, and they
I like
clearly
that
they
I like that they had the runes on him. I don't think they mentioned that in the
Yeah.
novel.
No,
'cause
I don't
of
think
course
they did.
that he doesn't get to notice that in the novel because then like mass amounts of pain probably from that like shooting through him once she does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as you can tell, as we all know later on, those runes, they like we were just talking about, the runes do end up having a symbolic meaning. They do change, and they actually have like a certain look to them instead of just like
Yeah.
randomly being put there.
Mm.
They look a lot cleaner, a lot cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get to meet Pokey's favorite character.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yep. So as she turns into this form, a large demonic figure like her old form appears.
Crashing through the ceiling.
Yep.
Eh,
Lady Sylvia, I advise you to seize your stubbornness and hand it over.
submit
Yep.
now, and perhaps he may heal your
He's
wound.
being polite. At least he's being polite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I
He
mean,
even calls
kind
her
of
lady,
expected what.
Sylvia.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kinda expected
polite,
who
he
he's
did
referring
kind
to.
of break her roof.
Yeah.
That's kind of rude.
Like, was he constantly over there looking for her, or was he already just like?
I think he noticed the change. That's like a big spike of mana. And then he
Maybe
Yeah.
as she turns into her dragon form, the density of mana faded. Because
or
Probably.
it's never
increased.
mentioned again anywhere in between the forest and beast clades have a denser area of mana. So
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I'm curious, like, was he constantly in Decathlon looking for her?
I don't
Yes.
think so.
I think that for the
I mean-
last few months that he was pretty close trying to find her.
Yeah, that's what she said. One of them had been drawing closer. So,
Yeah.
I think that the density of mana that she had was probably the only thing stopping him.
Which is kind of interesting. Well, I mean, makes sense. She is a tier above him, so. And I tell you, I totally didn't realize, like, he at this point, Arthur has no idea who this guy is or this demonic figure is. Like, he doesn't get a
Yeah.
name, nothing. He just knows he looks similar.
yeah, that's
looks
all
pretty
the
cool.
info we get for a really long time, actually.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And then
But one thing that Turtle Me has said is that the comic, it will change if we ever see him again. He'll get a redesign just for the
I mean,
updated
yeah,
art style.
when we see him.
when, yeah, because we know we'll see him quite a decent amount of times by then too. More.
Yeah.
We will be seeing our favorite demonic statue again a few times.
Yeah,
I think it's
that's
funny how the story is made. Like, we have, like, it starts out at like a slice of life, seemingly no major events. Then we get to like Sylvia and her disappearing, dying, whatever. And then it goes back to calm life. Like, it completely ignores the big issue of what the hell even happened to that cave for a really long time.
yeah.
And then we kind of go back to it later on. So it's a really interesting way to tell the story.
It's kind of like foreshadowing what's going on. He didn't want to give away too much.
I think it probably has something to do with what Sylvia tells him, which
Yeah.
we could probably get into that just a second.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we're almost there. We're like right at the end of the comic chapter.
yeah. Because
Chapter 16.
this is what and she used her power to freeze the space around them. He doesn't
Yeah,
know what the
freeze
hell's
time.
going on.
Yeah.
Cuts off, shoves him through the portal. As much as he's crying, wanted to drag her with him. She wants to be referred to as grandma. Very touching moment
Yeah.
between the two of them.
In the comic, he calls her grandma at the last moment. Where in the
Mhm.
novel, he was saying it 3 times before.
Yeah, no, he's like begging, crying out, doesn't want her to leave, doesn't want to leave her.
Yeah, he's just like,
Yeah.
I'll call you that as many times as you want. Just come with me.
After 4 months, you would probably get pretty attached to a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 months in the
Especially if you
same
guys
cave.
are just only 2 people.
Yeah.
I always wondered, was it ever like said what happened after this?
No,
Not right.
Her,
we
no.
don't actually know what happened to Sylvia.
We don't
So,
know what happens between the two of them. There are a few theories out there, but like there's a document written about that statue guy, but we don't know anything concrete yet.
Now is
No.
not the
Do
time,
you guys think
Pokey.
the statue finished him off, or finished her off, or that she just died of her wound?
She probably, it could be either, because she looked at the brink of death anyway.
Yeah, I think in all honesty, she probably passed away as soon as he pushed her through. She let her life force fade, use the last of her power so he couldn't get anything out of her before
Yeah.
passing. So when she passed away, her spell came undone, and time resumed, and he had no idea what happened.
A little bit
Why he-
later,
why-
we do know that that guy might have actually seen a glimpse of him before he was pushed through.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's much
But-
for much later, though.
And after this, Arthur's left in the middle of a forest, and then he hears the voice again.
Ahem. Testing. Testing. Ah, good. Hello, Art. This is Sylvia.
We have reached the end of episode 2, The Cave in the Kingdom, part 1. Podcast brought to you by the Aether Chamber with your host, Pokey, Toby, Akin, and Marcusio, 4 fans of TBATE. We would like to give our thanks to TurtleMe, Vuki23, Tapas, and Yen Press for working together to bring us TBATE in all of its forms. Links to their socials and websites will be located in the description as well. The novel is available on Tapas, which is updated weekly. It is currently available in English. There's also a webcomic adaptation which can also be found on Tapas. 9 volumes of the novel have been published, available on Google Play Store, Amazon, or Audible. There are currently 2 volumes of the comic published and available for purchase, plus volumes 3 to 6 become available from 2023 to 2024. Thank you for listening. Links to our socials and Discord server will be in the description to keep you updated with our releases of future episodes and other content. Please like and subscribe.